When I was really young, my family lived on the outskirts of St. Mark in a nice small house that had its own funny quirks. But the electricity and plumbing were predictably unpredictable. So we took bucket baths, which means we'd ration an amount of water in a 5-gallon bucket, and at 6 a.m. in the morning, by our own free will, we'd scoop freezing cups of this over our head. I am sure there are some baby boomers and Gen Xers out there who can relate. But do Americans understand the coping mechanisms Haitians develop when life is just hard? I hope that in the last episode, I got the majority of your curiosity about Haitian witchcraft and voodoo out of the way so I can focus on some real intercultural dilemmas. These past few weeks, Haiti has been rioting and shut down. It's too complicated to explain, but maybe I can help by sharing one of the fundamental reasons why chaos like this keeps happening.
Boop.
Thanks to Haiti, I have a different childhood experience than almost any other American, and it has left a strong emotional impression. Our family was the typical Caucasian Americans. We watched cartoons on Saturday morning, we parted our hair to one side, and learned how to read through Dr. Seuss. But me and my siblings honestly thought that America was the dreamland. McDonald's was a theme park. People's houses were mansions. You could eat whatever you want as much as you want. There was plumbing and electric 24/7. You could even throw the toilet paper in the toilet, and if it was yellow, it didn't have to mellow. But when we returned home, the electric would cut off at night, and it always happened suddenly and came with a sense of desolate disheartenment. We were always hot, and we were alone. My mom would light a kerosene lamp, and I have a very specific feeling attached to it. I'd wake up in the pitch dark, crying for my mom, and she'd come down with this kerosene lamp to comfort me. One day though, I cried, and it was the typical, I just want you to help me cry, and she didn't come. I thought that maybe if I cried harder, she'd hear me. Then this voice just came out of nowhere. It scared me to death. Kristian, just go back to sleep. I instantly stopped crying, and I realized that my older brother is sleeping on the top bunk above me, and every time I've been crying these last few months, I'd been waking him up. I went back to sleep and never did it again. But to this day, I still walk into a beautiful American home, and I don't feel the same sense of homeliness that comes when I step into a Haitian concrete dwelling full of its weird construction quirks. There is a safety in the dysfunction and gloom because it was something I know how to cope with. But I was not familiar with reaching my full potential in a functional environment. It sounds crazy, but because I understood how to cope, it was more preferable for me to sit in the dark hungry than to try to manage a complicated and successful life. Now, to dream of success, that was okay, but to do it was like poking a stick at the feelings of despair in me. Because coping is about shutting your feelings and emotions down, but wanting things to change and improve is bringing them up and alive. But I am so thankful that I grew up in a Christian setting that breathed hope and taught us to develop our character. But this is the big point I want to get at. I am intimidated by living in a functional world because it's not what I adapted to. For much of my teenage and young adult life, anything that showed a path to success was a threat to my coping mechanisms, and my survival instincts would kick in. I know it's illogical, but we're not logical creatures. And if that is how an American-raised child feels, imagine how Haitians feel. But for Haitian mothers, out of love, they feel the need to tell their children that they will never become anything. Every time someone asks them why they do this, they say it is to help them prepare for the harsh realities of life that are coming up. For those who've worked in Haiti, you've seen how some Haitians, once the spark of hope comes in, they almost seem to sabotage themselves and everything that they were doing. And Americans tend to look at that and raise their hands in disbelief. But there is an emotional instinct going on that you don't know about. Haitians don't know how to tell it to you, and I would have never shared about it except that I learned how to overcome. And a lot of that overcoming was because people believed in me and my chance for success, given that they could connect with me as an American. But when Americans reach this conflict with Haitians, they tend to react in frustration because of the cultural barrier going on. You can't see or understand the emotional struggle. It's the general American assumption that everybody feels the same positive vibes for success that they do. And yet, to this day, I face moments where I want to sabotage my career so I can go back into that dysfunctional world where I know how to cope, and that's familiar. And that brings me back to the current events happening in Haiti, where we have possibly one of the most altruistic presidents in Haiti's history, Jovenel Moïse. But a large amount of Haitian people are still okay with being paid by the opposition to create barricades and riots and shut the country down. And all of these problems in Haiti, they're blaming the president for as if he has all the power in the world to change it. Jovenel has been pushing a constant campaign for hope and change in Haiti, and it's intimidating. And the question for me, as a Haitian American filmmaker who has a taste of what the poverty class feels, is how can I use storytelling to bring resolution to that emotional dissonance? And this is the challenge I pass to you. When they fail, how can you help them at an emotional level to overcome their instinctive fear for success? I mean, after all those Americans who came to Haiti and had an impact on my life. You helped me overcome my fear. Hey guys, could you please comment below what you think? Do I sound like I'm on target? Am I off target? You like the new hairdo and shave? Everything that you share is how I can make this SnowKon series better.